Hello and welcome to Live with Chris, an interview podcast where we can learn and grow together. I am your host, Cris Oviedo, and I want to thank you for joining me today. An apprenticeship is defined as an industry driven, high quality career pathway where employers can develop and prepare their future workforce. And individuals can obtain paid work experience, classroom experience, and a portable, nationally recognized credential. In other words, it's a win win for employers and developing professionals. Howard Community College fully believes and supports this earn while you learn model and currently offers a variety of programs while also looking for new opportunities that we could bring and offer to all of our county residents. And my guest today is the person who's in charge of bringing these opportunities to life. I am talking about Jeff Richmond. He is the Director of Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation here at HEC. Jeff, welcome to our show this morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you. Doing very well. I appreciate being on with everyone this morning.
Absolutely. And Jeff, it's nice to have you here. It's nice to see that HEC continues to put forward opportunities such as apprenticeships. And since this is the first time that I have you on my show, I just want to learn a little bit more about you. And I'd love to start by just finding out what you enjoy the most about this job.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, my name is Jeff Richmond, Director of Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation, and excited to be here. And I have a very wonderful opportunity of being the Director of Apprenticeships here at HCC. It's a very exciting time, not just in the state of Maryland and not just here at HCC, but across the country for apprenticeship programs. And honestly, the thing that I like most about the apprenticeship model and the apprenticeship programs is just the growth and the trajectory for non-traditional students to be able to earn credentials to have a wonderful and fruitful career. So I love speaking to interested individuals about our apprenticeship programs and love talking to the community and employers about our apprenticeship model and how it can benefit not only the individual, but also the local employers as well.
Now, the government definition of an apprenticeship says that it is an industry driven, high quality
Mhm.
career pathway where employers can develop and prepare their future workforce, right? It talks about how individuals can obtain paid work experience, classroom
Mhm.
experience, and the nationally recognized credentials. Tell us a little more, right? What this means in practice, because it sounds almost overwhelming, to be honest with you. It's like a big
Yeah.
mouthful, right? Hard to say, how to read.
Mhm.
So help us really bring it down to earth to practical ways, right? What it means for HCC, for our students, when somebody comes to HCC looking for this apprenticeship opportunity, what does it mean in real life?
Yeah, the best way to describe it in the simplest terms is an earn while you learn model. So, an apprenticeship program gives the unique opportunity for an individual to work full time for a local employer while attending college classes at the exact same time. So, an apprentice would be a full time employee, learning skills on the job, getting that on the job training that is required by the Maryland Department of Labor, but it's also industry driven. So, these are needed skills, skills that are common in the respective workforce program that the individual, the apprentice, is part of, and they're able to get that real world experience while working full time and benefited. And then, on top of that, apprentices are taking classes either online or in the evening or sometimes during the workday as well. So those students are able to take what they learn from the classroom and apply it to the job, and at the same time take what they learn on the job and apply it to the classroom. Then that way they're able to enter a new industry that's new for the individual early in their career. So it's a great opportunity for young individuals who are just coming out of high school or in their early 20s, but also for career changers because you're able to switch careers with little financial impact because an individual is earning a salary while working. And then the coursework, one of the very exciting things about an apprenticeship program is that the coursework is then paid for by the employer. So individuals in these programs are not accruing any student debt or not adding to their possible current student debt as well while they're working full time at the same time of taking classes.
It's very, very exciting in my opinion. And I know we talked offline and I told you, I share with you that I feel that this is the perfect model for education. Because
Hmm.
one of the things that, when students graduate, and, I graduated a few years ago, and it was like, show us your experience, show us your experience. And so I had to build
Yeah.
into my educational path. I had to build this internship opportunities, and many of them were not paid.
Hmm.
And I was a
Hmm.
non-traditional student, so I already had a family. I already had all of this debt
Hmm.
accumulated, outside of student debt. And it was really difficult to try to get that experience, right? To try to get those
Yeah.
internships, those unpaid internships. So I personally feel that apprenticeships are great. And then for somebody, I think also one of the things that COVID brought was that awareness that many people left their jobs, right? Many people, for
Hmm.
whatever reason, because they were not happy, because the industry just obligated you to leave your job, because you suddenly wanted to stay at home and you wanted to explore different opportunities. I think actually we can maybe change the lens that that we see that, and think of it as an opportunity, right? And apprenticeships, I think, are the perfect partner for that
Hmm.
bubble of opportunity that COVID created, because of all the things that you just said, right? You want to explore a different
Yeah.
career, you're interested in switching your career, you left your job for whatever reason that might be, and are looking for new pathways now, then, I think it's perfect for somebody like that to consider an apprenticeship. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, if you, I'll use myself as an example. I have a wife, a home, a daughter. So, for me to, if I wanted to switch careers, traditionally, if you think about it, I would have to leave my job. So I no longer have an income, and I would have to pay to go to school to get the training and the education I need for whichever career I wanted to do. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to, become an HVAC technician through an apprenticeship program. I would start working right away, earning a salary, and salaries are on a progressive wage scale. So as I go throughout the program, I would earn a higher wage as I complete, hit my marks, hit what I need to, and then I'm getting my education paid for as well. So while for some individuals it might be a pay cut or a burden, it might be tough, but an apprenticeship program makes that career change very viable and very possible, especially for current working adults who do have families. But it's also really great for individuals who are coming out of high school, or maybe individuals who had tried college, it wasn't necessarily for them, and are just trying to find the path that works best for them. So that's the beauty of an apprenticeship program. It really does work for all different kinds of individuals. So you wouldn't be starting, while you would be starting a new career from scratch, but you'd be earning a salary while doing it at the same time. And an apprenticeship model really does help slow down the student debt crisis that we see across the country. I mean, there's over, I think
Mhm.
it's 1.7, $1.8 trillion of student debt across the country. These
Wow.
individuals who are part of these apprenticeship program, you wouldn't even pay for books. You don't pay for the fees. You would just, the only cost that you would accrue is, getting to the job site. So you'd have to have reliable transportation depending on the program. So from a financial standpoint, it makes a lot of sense for someone to be interested in an apprenticeship program.
And one of the most, so I did a series of interviews on apprenticeships. So for anyone who's looking and who wants more in depth, career field specific, if you go through the videos, if you go to our podcast page, also Dragon Digital Radio, that podbean.com, and you look through the Live with Chris, you'll see that we did a series of apprenticeship interviews, and one of them was in construction management, and the student was at the site when we were doing this interview, and it was just so rewarding to see him there, and speak about, I just learned this last night in my class, and now I am here today, the next
Mm-hmm.
morning, applying what I just learned last night, during my class. So that was really, that really brought it to life for me to hear from one of our students saying, I read this in a book yesterday. We were watching videos, we were doing whatever it was that they were doing in the classroom. And here I am this morning, right? Just a few
Yeah.
short hours after I learned this for the first time, I am now here at a job site applying it. To me, that was
Mm-hmm.
powerful. So it's, that's really when I became a fan of apprenticeships, because I realized that it's transformative. It's just a way, how many times we come to classroom, we have the equipment, we have the cameras, in my case, because I'm a production, right, radio and TV production major, But then I go home and I don't have those cameras. I don't have, and I'm not in working in an industry at the time, right, where I could continue to experience that and I could continue to hone into my craft. So here with the apprenticeship, you're doing exactly that. You're learning it, and then the next morning you go and apply it at the job. And
Mhm.
you know, I believe in them big time. I think apprenticeships are really, really good. So anyone who's
Yeah.
listening and watching, if you're considering furthering your career and not sure how to do it, look into apprenticeships. Look at that. And that's one of the things, Jeff, that I wanted to talk to you about, right? Because traditionally or historically, apprenticeships have been almost exclusively tied to trades. Is that still fair? Is that still fair connotations? That's still fair to think, okay, if I'm going to do an apprenticeship, then I have to go into a trade. Is that still the norm?
No, that is not the case. There are the traditional apprenticeship programs and the non-traditional apprenticeship programs, and I think in the next 3 to 5 years, they won't even have that distinction. It'll just be apprenticeship programs. So if you think about a traditional apprenticeship program, you think HVAC technician, electrician, plumbing, which are great careers. There's a shortage of those workers all across the country, so they're very wonderful careers. But we have seen a massive growth in non-traditional apprenticeship programs, which when I say we, I mean Howard Community College. When we look to start an apprenticeship program, we look at the workforce shortages within the region and how we can meet those workforce shortages for specific occupations. So, for example, we have a cybersecurity or an IT apprenticeship program because there's a workforce shortage in that. So individuals are able to have a fruitful career in the IT field through an apprenticeship program. We're seeing growth of apprenticeship programs in the healthcare industry, biomedical engineering technology industry, and other industries as well, where there is a workforce shortage. Because this is a model that works. It has been proven time and time again that the apprenticeship model, the earn while you learn model, works. And individuals don't necessarily want to go to a traditional 4-year school and accrue a lot of debt without a job lined up. I mean, that's another huge advantage for an apprenticeship program. When you do our IT apprenticeship program, you're employed by a local employer throughout the program. And when you're finished the apprenticeship program, you stay on with that employer. There's a 94% retention rate for employees for apprentices who stay after the 3-year mark of completion of an apprenticeship program. So you're able to continue on. So from an apprenticeship standpoint, if you look at it purely financial, it just makes a lot of sense, whether it's traditional or non-traditional.
94% retention. That's big. That's huge. That's important for employers who are maybe watching and listening to this podcast, to this conversation, to really hone in on that. Because I think that one of the biggest crises that we're facing right now is it's the lack of employers. Like, everybody's understaffed,
Mm-hmm.
and we've heard, right, as an institution, we've heard that we need prepared professionals. That's that industry driven part of the definition, right? That it's Jeff just said, we are looking for where those gaps exist so we can bring in those opportunities. So let's talk to the employers for a minute here, Jeff. Why should employers consider offering apprenticeships? What are the incentives for them?
Yeah, there's a lot of incentives for employers. So I did already mention the 94% retention rate at the 3-year mark. I mean, that's huge. We've seen the Great Resignation about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and a lot of individuals tend to go from job to job. But through apprentices, you historically and currently you do not see such a low retention rate. It's very, very strong. So I know employers really like that. And I think one of the biggest advantages for employers is that you're able to grow your own workforce. You're hiring individuals who are new to the industry, and you're able to train them from the very beginning of their new career or their career in general. So some employers joke that their apprentices aren't picking up any bad habits from another employer. So they're able to train them the way that they feel is proper for their industry and for their place of work. So employers also assign a mentor or boss to each apprentice, so they are able to have that one-on-one training with the apprentice, which is very valuable from the apprentice standpoint, because they're able to really make sure that they're transition into the career, and as they grow into their career, that they're able to get the right support and right training that they need. And while employers do pay for the related instruction, there is that cost associated with it. These are your employees who will be finishing their program without any student debt. They're not going to be, a financial decision isn't going to be as big of a deal to them because they're not dealing with any student debt when they're finished the program. And like I said, with a high retention rate, the reducing of hiring costs of, recruiting for new individuals, using the HR office to interview, employers are able to save money through hiring apprentices through that program as well. And then finally, there's so many wonderful grant opportunities at the national level and at the state level to help pay for this funding as well, to help possibly pay for wages, possibly pay for related instruction. So while there is a cost associated with it, working with us here at Howard Community College, we try to find ways to reduce those costs as well. And also when it comes to recruiting, we host regular information session about our apprenticeship programs. Every day we get emails and calls from students who are interested in our apprenticeship programs. And the problem is that we just don't necessarily have enough employers who are on board because, our apprenticeship programs are industry driven. So, getting more employers on board would allow us to expand our programs, and we're able to, send the qualified candidates to the employer for them to interview. So I think that's a really big advantage for employers as well.
So employers are really key. They are essential to the success of apprenticeships. So if you're an employer, or you're maybe the HR person in a company, explore this idea of apprenticeships. It's just good for you. It's good to really like Jeff just said, develop that workforce, right? And also at the same time, invest in your employees. And there's so many studies and there's so many statistics out there, that if you are an employer who invests in their employees, then your employees are more loyal, they're happier, and they produce better results for you. So look into apprenticeships. Jeff, are all industries apprenticable? Is that a word? Can you have an apprenticeship in all industries?
Yeah, I'm still debating whether or not apprenticeshable, I can't even say it right, if something is apprenticeable. Yes and no. I mean, I think when it comes to becoming a surgeon, that an apprenticeship model is a little bit different. But, when you come to, when they go to the rotations and clinicals, it's similar. But that's something that we have found that many, many industries can have an apprentice, because as long as they can have that on the job training, and then there's related instruction that goes well with it, we are always open to having those discussions. I think that's one of the big advantages of working at a community college, is that we have so many resources and so many incredible faculty members here who are able to teach a variety of courses and a variety of programs. So, I love talking to employers who are part of industries that we don't have as apprenticeship programs, to see if it's a viable option. I know we'll be talking about the programs that we have later on, but an example I want to share is childcare. There's a childcare professional shortage all across the country, and there is one here in Howard County and in the state of Maryland. So you wouldn't think that would be an apprenticeshipable program, but these are individuals who are interested in working with kids and helping them learn in that pre-K environment. So they're able to work with their mentor and get that on-the-job training early on while taking the childcare classes that we offer here at Howard Community College. So that's something that is a goal of mine in my career as I work in apprenticeships, is to really promote and try to find creative ways of meeting the workforce needs when it comes to apprenticeship programs.
That's really exciting, because it really sounds like there's a lot of opportunity in this field. That there's like we said at the very beginning, there's certain careers that you immediately think of, certain trade careers
Mm-hmm.
that you immediately think of, as apprenticeship opportunities. But the possibilities, from what I'm hearing here, are endless. As long as we can match
Yes.
the requirements, right? As long as we have that curriculum, as long as we have the number of hours in the on the job training, it sounds like it's worth exploring
Mm-hmm.
this opportunity. There's benefits for the employers, to really look into this, to really start investing in their
Right.
business, because it's really investing in your business. I know it sounds like you're investing in your employees, but when you're investing in your employees, you're investing in your business, and your business can only grow from that. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's, it's just, again, there's statistics out there.
Right.
It's a proven fact, that if you invest in your employees, your business is just gonna it's just gonna bloom, because your employees are really gonna give back to you what you're giving to them in the beginning. Let's talk
And then,
briefly about some of those programs that you said we have here. Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And I just wanted to add real quick, I forgot to mention. So since these programs are industry employer driven, we work with the advisory boards of our employer partners to make sure that the academic side, the related instruction side, matches with what's going on in the industry. We know industry changes very rapidly. So we work with the Maryland Department of Labor and work with the employers to make sure that the related instruction is up to date and matches with what is needed. Because I'm director of apprenticeship and workforce innovation, but I'm not a child care professional, so I don't know exactly what the curriculum needs. So we rely on the industry to help guide us to make sure that we're matching those programs. But to your question, we have many occupations here at Howard Community College for our apprenticeship programs. We have biomedical engineering, technology, construction management, information technology, help desk support, licensed practical nurse, and surgical technologist. Those are our two newer programs that we have. So we have hospital partners that work who are in desperate need of surgical technologists and licensed practical nurse. And those are the programs that we have in our non-traditional apprenticeship program model, including child care professional, which is our newest one. It's so new that it hasn't even been put on our website yet. But then in our traditional apprenticeship programs, we have plumbing, electrical and heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration.
And with the Maryland blueprint, it makes a lot of sense as we,
Mm-hmm.
as a county, as a state, continue to implement all of the new needs. Daycare is part of that. Pre-K is part of that.
Yes.
So it's important, it's really, really important that if you're interested in that industry, you take a look at apprenticeships because it might just be the key. It might just be the key that you needed, that maybe something's holding you back. Maybe, that's where you want to be. That's what you want to do. But you
Mm-hmm.
don't have the income, you don't have the time, you just didn't see how it could work. And Jeff just said, if I wanted to change careers today because I have a family to care for, I don't know how I would do it. Well, apprenticeship is that key that really says this is the way that you can do it. If this is a career that is offered as an apprenticeship, then you can come and you can get your education, you can work so you can make some money so you can continue to provide for your family as you continue to become that trained professional, highly trained professional
Mm-hmm.
who's very well into their career life, right? Like it's really honing in that career path. That's why I really appreciate apprenticeships. Um, I know we've sold it for the employers mostly, but somebody's listening and thinking, okay, you guys are not telling me that I need to do this and why I need to do this. I think we need to just really bring that message home, Jeff. So
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's looking for that opportunity, let's tell them why they should consider an apprenticeship as that first option in education.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about the importance of an apprenticeship program. One of the biggest things that I'll say is that our apprenticeship program are in industries where there's a workforce shortage. So I think that job security is something that is really important, and we work very closely with our employers. So when you're part of an apprenticeship program, you're working full time, working with one of our employers. So you're getting your education paid for, so you're not going into student debt, and you're getting paid a progressive wage as you go throughout the program. And I think one of the best things, and I mentioned this briefly earlier, that while there is an end to the apprenticeship program, there's not an end to the career. Then you have to start all over. So when you finish an apprenticeship program, it's not like you're done, like an internship or a co-op, where you then have to go out and look for a job and you have to apply for a position and it's kind of, start again. Through an apprenticeship program, when you're finished, that employer keeps you on and you continue to work throughout with them, ideally through the rest of your career. So that's why it's really a win-win for employers and for apprentices, because you're able to build that relationship with your employer, and the employer is able to build that relationship with you as an apprentice. And then when you're finished a program, you're able to possibly become a mentor to another apprentice later on. We've seen that with our construction management program. We have a great partnership with Bizzuto Construction. We had an individual, her name, she finished a program last year, and now she's a mentor for an apprentice as well, and she's able to grow her career within Bizzuto. So I think that's one of the biggest advantages to it. And another advantage is that the timing of these programs. While you are working full time and going to school part time, these programs that we have are between 1 and 4 years, depending on what it is. So if you think about getting like a bachelor's degree, if you're working full time and want to get your bachelor's, if you're just going to school part time, it could take you 6 to 8 years to get that degree. So our programs, while they're not short, they definitely, in the big picture, are short term compared to other paths as well.
So it's apprenticeship is a good opportunity. Is little to no debt for you, right? As an
Mm-hmm.
employer, it makes a lot of sense because you're filling in those gaps and you're investing in your employees who are going to
Mm-hmm.
return that investment 100-fold. I mean, I am
Yeah.
totally convinced of that.
Yeah.
And then you can just further that career. It sounds like a really good option. So
Mm-hmm.
don't believe me. Please don't believe me. Please contact Jeff. Please get in touch with Jeff. Come to Howard Community College and find out more, right? If you're an employer and you want to find out, is this right for my industry? Can I do this? Can I offer an apprenticeship? Contact Jeff. If you're somebody who's seeking an opportunity, a career change, or looking to see what's my next step, contact Jeff. Find out if an apprenticeship is what's right for you in this path.
Mhm.
So, Jeff, let's tell everybody where they can get more information, where they can get in touch with you. How do we find out more about apprenticeships here at Howard Community College?
Yeah, I love meeting people in person and love meeting virtually. So if you're an employer and you're interested in this program, you can contact me. The best way to contact me would be through our apprenticeship email, which is hccapprenticeship@howardcc.edu. And that's for individuals as well. So if you're interested in learning more about our apprenticeship programs, our models, and you want to know about the application process, the requirements, contact hccapprenticeships@howardcc.edu. I'm located here in the Hickory Ridge building at Howard Community College. Feel free to stop by and say hello and talk. And then you can also call me. My number is 410-518-4972. So I'm happy to talk to anybody about the programs that we have and any possible new programs that we want to grow in addition to what we already have.
So contact Howard Community College, come find out about apprenticeships, see if it's the right career pathway for you. Um, as an employer, again, consider offering this opportunity to your employees. Invest in your industry, invest in your business, invest in your employees. It's just going to bring you tenfold what you invest in them. Anything else that you want to just leave everybody with before we wrap our conversation up today?
Yeah, no, I just really want to say that this, while we're talking about it here at Howard Community College and it's just the two of us, this is something that is just really growing across the state and the country. The federal government and the state of Maryland have really invested in apprenticeships, and there's been incredible growth over the last few years, and we're going to continue to see that growth. So if you're an individual unsure of your education pathways, I would highly recommend looking into an apprenticeship model. And then if you're an employer looking for a creative way of solving workforce needs and growing your workforce, I would highly encourage you to explore the opportunity for an apprenticeship model. So it's really easy to have a discussion. It's really easy to learn more about this. And I'm very excited to see not just the upcoming months for apprenticeships, but for the years and decades that come. I think this will be a model that you'll see as a very common opportunity for employers as well as for individuals.
Jeff, thank you so much for your energy. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for creating new pathways of opportunity, for our both employers and those who are seeking employment opportunities and career opportunities, because that's really important. That this is a career opportunity. If you're looking for that career, if you're looking to really advance your career life, an apprenticeship model might just be what you're looking for. Thanks again, Jeff, for being with me today. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share this with your friends, with your family. Maybe somebody's looking for that opportunity. Maybe you're set. Maybe you're like, I'm already a professional. I'm good. Thank you, Chris. Well, maybe you know somebody. Maybe there's a young person in your life. Maybe there's a coworker who you see that has a little passion in their heart that wants to seek a different pathway. Share this information with them. It's important to share the information about apprenticeships out there so that as we continue to build this country, as we continue to fill those gaps that are out there, we look at apprenticeships as an opportunity to do that. Thank you everybody for listening, for watching, for sharing. I am Cris Oviedo. Stay connected with us, Dragon Digital Radio, Dragon Digital Media. Have a wonderful day.